So Black Friday football is over, and now we could go back to talking about the 49ers, who I think have only one more apparent remaining weakness. They've been chipping away. They kept on chopping wood here over the course of the year at their weaknesses. I think they've solved the third cornerback issue. I think they've solved the edge rusher issue opposite Nick Bosa. I think the pass protection is the last weakness for the 49ers. I did the grades for the win against Seattle, and it was A+ to A- across the board everywhere except for offensive line, where they gave the 49ers a C. Trent Williams is fantastic at left tackle. You have to hope that he stays healthy. But the other positions, namely on the right side of that offensive line, have given the 49ers a lot of trouble. Now, Brock Purdy is overcoming it so far. So the 49ers have only one remaining weakness, and Brock Purdy is overcoming that remaining weakness. The visual illustration of how he's overcoming it can be found right here. I showed this before the Seahawks game, but it's a good time to revisit it because we saw Seattle generate a lot of pressure, including on the throw to Brandon Ayuk, the 28-yard touchdown pass, where they beat Colton McKivitz clean. That was Boye Mafe. But Brock Purdy is playing top shelf efficiency above every other NFL quarterback, despite having worse pass protection in front of him. Pass protection is on the left-right scale here. So further to the left means worse pass protection in front of a given quarterback. And then efficiency of that quarterback is on the vertical axis. So Purdy up and to the left. No other quarterback is in this quadrant, right? Maybe Stafford and Burrow, barely. Geno Smith no longer. He wasn't good last night. He was barely there. But Purdy worlds ahead of those QBs. So basically, you have a team, and I'm not talking about special teams. I'm talking about offense and defense. You have a 49ers team that on offense and defense doesn't have any remaining weaknesses except for the pass protection of the offensive line. Yet Brock Purdy has been good enough to overcome that weakness. The question moving forward is, will Brock Purdy continue to be able to deliver the level of play, the feel for the pocket, the composure under pressure? Will you be able to continue overcoming the 49ers' weaker pass protection? And, I think it's extremely fitting that we're asking this question right now as the 49ers play Philadelphia next, because Philadelphia has a monstrous pass rush. Might not be as good as it was last year, but last season it was that pass rush that injured Brock Purdy. Hassan Reddick came around the edge. Tyler Kroft couldn't really slow him down. I think he slowed him down a little bit, but a lot of what happened was Brock Purdy's fault too, right? He wasn't as adept at stepping up in the pocket last year, feeling the rush as he is now. He's grown up over the course of this year. So a measuring stick game is coming up against the Eagles. You go back and you look at the fateful play and you say, damn, if Purdy would have nudged up in the pocket, kind of like he did yesterday on the throw to Brandon Ayuk, if he would have given himself 0.2 of a second more just through some manipulation of the pocket, then Brock Purdy wouldn't have gotten his elbow blown up, and Brandon Ayuk was coming open against James Bradbury downfield. Remember Deebo Samuel called James Bradbury, the Eagles cornerback, trash? The 49ers believe that there are matchups to be won downfield against Philadelphia. They don't respect this linebacking core. They don't respect this secondary, but there is a disadvantage for the 49ers offensive line against Philadelphia's front. So the way that they're going to beat this front is, well, you try to block better, obviously, but Brock Purdy has to manipulate the pocket better. The 49ers, because the pass protection has been rated by Pro Football Focus as number 28 in the league, because of that, the 49ers are relying on their quarterback to continue doing magical stuff. This is why Brock Purdy is the MVP of the league right now, because he's delivering the best efficiency with bottom barrel pass protection. Can the 49ers get better with pass protection? Well, that's my question entering the rest of this season. A lot of people speculated that the 49ers starting five up front, that's Trent Williams from left to right. Trent Williams, Aaron Banks, Jake Brendel, John Feliciano, and Colton McKivitz. A lot of people speculated this was the 49ers' best starting five. That being said, 49ers gave up some pressure yesterday with that starting five. Feliciano gave up 4 pressures. Spencer Burford had been giving up around that much every single game. It was Feliciano's first game for the 49ers at right guard. When Burford is healthy from his knee injury, which is probably going to be as soon as this next week, does that mean that the 49ers go back to him, or will they go to Feliciano at right guard, or are they going to run the platoon? Probably the platoon at this point, right? Because you look at the fact that Feliciano got run over a couple times. He was anything but perfect. You look at the fact that Spencer Burford has not been close to perfect for the 49ers on that right side. And you see that the 49ers probably will want to run a mix and match like they did last season with Burford and Daniel Brunskill. That doesn't solve the issue of right tackle, though. It was Colton McKivitz who got beaten by Boye Mafe on Brock Purdy's sensational throw to Brandon Ayuk. And it's Jake Brendel who's having some trouble with your bigger A-gappers, your bigger nose tackles in this game. DJ Reader from Cincinnati just pushed Jake Brendel off the football. Obviously, Vita Vea creates issues for anybody. Did against the 49ers when they played Tampa Bay. Seattle caused some trouble on the inside. Again, it was Burford giving up quite a bit of pressure. Aaron Banks is going to be fine. He's playing on the turf toe right now. I think the extra rest for the 49ers is going to be big, but they're just trying to patch it together with this offensive line. And, the thing is, it's not like you can go out and just sign anybody and expect to get better. The 49ers aren't the only team dealing with issues up front. There's a shortage of good offensive linemen relative to the good pass rushers in this league. And I think the 49ers recognized that shortage early on. They recognized the way this was going, and they said, well, the quarterback's going to have to do a lot of the heavy lifting. So is the quick release game. But Purdy adds mobility the 49ers didn't have with Jimmy Garoppolo, and he's still trying to make plays downfield. He's keeping his eyes downfield, even as he's scrambling around back there. So the 49ers are trying to go about this in a way that is not your standard NFL, let's go get a great offensive line kind of way, because they'll pay for what they have available. I mean, Trent Williams was there to pay, so the 49ers paid the best left tackle in the game, but it's not like these other guys at left guard, center, right guard, and right tackle are going on trees. So the 49ers are trying to overcome that pass protection or the deficiencies there with the play of Brock Purdy, with what they're doing schematically on offense, and through the recognition that maybe you could find a good run blocking offensive line these days, because run defense is falling out of vogue in the NFL because everybody's trying to rush the passer. So get that cheaper offensive line, or whatever you could find on the offensive line. Make sure they're available to run block. Make sure they're able to spring holes like they did yesterday for Christian McCaffrey. But then when it comes to straight back pass protection, you got to conceal them somehow. You do that through some of the play action game. You do that by setting up good down and distance. You do that because your quarterback, if he's good in the quick release game, can buy a little bit extra time. I mean, there's different ways to skin the cat. And the 49ers have obviously chosen one way. They can't just pivot midstream. They have to continue what they've been doing, and that's Brock Purdy succeeding despite the fact that the pass blocking score has not been stellar. It's been far from stellar. Again, PFF pass blocking grade rated number 28 in the NFL. Take a look in at this. The 49ers have a rest advantage against the Eagles. You can see how
it has been here for how many months?
Wow. I mean,
that has been there.
Obviously, we saw Olivia Culpo posted this online. Obviously, you see
this is just from
the turf, what it did with the cuts on Christian McCaffrey's elbow, but he's limping around a little bit, and he's got the big bruise over on his tricep.
Are you okay?
No, he's just been such a workhorse for the 49ers. And right now, they have their only rest advantage of the year. The 49ers do. They've got one rest advantage all season long, and it's this game. They didn't even have one coming off of their bye week. So Christian McCaffrey is going to try to heal those bruises up. That was, again, posted by Olivia Culpo on social media. But the 49ers are in a position right now where the Jacksonville was also coming off of a bye. There's been net rest disadvantages for the 49ers across the board. The Browns were coming off a bye. The 49ers weren't when the Browns beat San Francisco. The Bengals were coming off of their bye. The 49ers weren't when they lost to Cincinnati. And when you see Christian McCaffrey bruised up, cut up, limping around like that, you say, okay, wow, a little extra rest would be nice. And for the only time this season, the 49ers will have more rest than their coming opponent. Philadelphia has to play on Sunday against Buffalo. and the 49ers already played on Thursday night. So they're going to have this entire Friday, entire Saturday, and entire Sunday more of rest than the Eagles. And I think this could be really significant in the game. I don't know if the 49ers are going to be favored or not. The line probably is going to be close to even. Maybe because Philadelphia has home field advantage, they'll go Philly -1. I think a smart line would be San Francisco -1. We'll see what it's going to end up being. It won't be released until after the Eagles play the Bills. But the big rest advantage for the 49ers, I think, is a welcome one. It's a necessary one, and it's something worth watching. This right here is in the description right now. We got a $1 a month sale for the Athletic. It's going to last the whole year. It's a Black Friday sale. And speaking of Christian McCaffrey and Brock Purdy, this is what you need to check out. The origin story, both of them, again, played some great football last night against Seattle. So check out that origin story of Christian McCaffrey and Brock Purdy. It's $1 a month. Go ahead and check it out. I'll answer a few questions here. This has been our little 49ers afternoon evening show here. Wherever you're at, it depends. Afternoon if you're on the West Coast, evening if you're a little bit ahead of that. I'm at 5:30 p.m. right now, and it's already dark, as you might be able to tell. I know there's no windows here, but check it out. That one is in the description. I'm going to go to 49ers Q&A right now. Put this up on the screen, and let's talk. Post your questions. Do I have all of the defense's stats from last night? What do you want? Tackles, EPA per play. 49ers defense, #1 in EPA per play since the bye week. They've been extrapolated over the full season. Has been better than Cleveland's defense. So they'd be #1. So the 49ers are playing with the #1 offense, essentially the #1 defense, and the special teams. Well, we'll talk about that a little bit later. They have to replace George Odom, though. He tore his biceps muscle. Is probably done for the year. The 49ers defensively are at 6 sacks. That's what they were against Seattle. Pass breakups galore. They set their Shanahan era record for pass breakups against Tampa Bay. They had quite a few against Seattle, but Geno Smith didn't have the opportunity to throw as much as Baker Mayfield did. They gave up only about 3 yards a carry to the standard rush, which is good enough to unlock the pass rush. So those are the stats that you're asking for. If you need any more, let me know. 15 sacks over the past 3 games, huh? Somebody just put that up on the screen. What do you need me to say about Jake Moody? You want me to comment on Jake Moody? I don't know what to say. I mean, he's made every single kick since he made that really long one against Minnesota. He's making extra points. Seems to be confident out there. You're probably not going to trust him until he makes several game winners in a row, but that might take a couple years. The way it's going right now, the 49ers haven't needed a kicker. They're 8 wins. They've won by an average of 20 points. What do I see as the Eagles' weaknesses? Well, they weren't a particularly good run defense last season. They're not a great defense this year. They're ranked about, I think, DVOA number 17 this season, so it's a mediocre defense. They've lost Hargrave, so that interior pass rush doesn't have him anymore. They have Jalen Carter now, but Carter and Hargrave, different players. I think Carter is a little bit more of a run-stopping body on top of the pass rushing abilities. He's a really good player, don't get me wrong. But Philadelphia, they have surrendered yardage. They have surrendered points this season defensively. I think offensively, these guys are rock solid. From Jalen Hurts at quarterback to a really good offensive line to Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown to Dallas Goedert, the tight end, DeAndre Swift running the football. I mean, they've got weapons. They're a great offense. It's the number 6 offense. They've been good, but not great so far this year. But I think it's a great offense just based on the larger body of work. So I think and special teams is solid too. Number 5 for Philadelphia. Although the 49ers won the special teams battle against the top 5 Seattle unit yesterday. I just think that you have to look at this as the 49ers offense needs to go out there and perform to its number 1 ranking against the mediocre Philly defense so far this year. They have to get vengeance for last season. They have to fix some of the stuff that obviously befell them last year. And if that offense is the locomotive that pulls the train, the 49ers are going to win this game. So here's a good question. Is the O-line issue largely philosophical? Like the 49ers draft athletic, slightly leaner O-line guys that run the outside zone, so the downside being anchoring? Partly, yes. But that being said, Trent Williams is a cheat code who can do both, right? He could anchor and he could block the outside zone. I think they went away a little bit from that standard philosophy that you put up on the screen when they drafted Aaron Banks. He's bigger, and I think he is anchored a little bit better against the bull rushers at left guard. At center, that definitely has been the case with Jake Brendel. He's been a lighter kind of player who can, you need that guy to be able to execute on reach blocks. I just think that on the right side of the line, the 49ers haven't been good, period. Right? Between Burford and Colton McKivitz and now John Feliciano giving up the 4 pressures yesterday, the 49ers just need better play there. They like running to the left more because running to the left, obviously, you get to go behind Trent Williams and Aaron Banks. And most of the pass rushing pressure is coming against the right side. Colton McKivitz is a economical option at right tackle. You look at alternatives, though, and there weren't many better alternatives. He's actually pass protecting better than Mike McGlinchey, who's making a whole heck of a lot more. Spencer Burford, still developing. Is he developing quickly enough? Well, the fact that they're saying that they want to platoon him with Feliciano tells you that they need this to move a little bit quicker, right? So, and it's only year 2 for Spencer Burford. And again, it's tough to find quality offensive linemen. I think the 49ers are just in that kind of bind. So I think philosophically, it's smart to do what they're doing because the league isn't as good at run defense. The tackling has been worse around the league, but the league has specialized in pass rushing. So many pass rushers are coming out of high school, college these days because the spread offense has taken over the course of the last 10 years. So that's allowed pass rushers opportunities to develop. So you have more pass rushers than you have offensive linemen. So what do? Well, you take and look at defenses who aren't as good at stopping the run because less teams are doing it. That's your comparative advantage. But you don't want to get into a straight drop back game because that gets difficult. Now, the thing is that Brock Purdy, again, back to what we said at the top, has been so damn good in spite of the offensive line issues. You're really having your cake and eating it too if you're the 49ers. This is one of the worst points that I've seen. The 49ers blocking Hassan Reddick with Tyler Kroft was not an issue last year. The Philadelphia Eagles went on to the Super Bowl, and Hassan Reddick rushed against tight ends for the Kansas City Chiefs who weren't the first string tight end, and the Chiefs were just fine. They didn't get to Patrick Mahomes. This is just football, especially some of these offenses. You're counting on your tight end to at least slow the edge rusher so that the release can happen from the quarterback, and he's got to manipulate the pocket. The sack was more Brock Purdy's fault, the one where he got his elbow hurt, than it was Tyler Kroft's fault on that play. Of course, Reddick is going to beat Kroft, but Kroft made Reddick go the long way around. There's this narrative that Kyle Shanahan screwed this up, and he didn't. If you're saying that he screwed it up, then why aren't you saying that Andy Reid screwed it up when he won the Super Bowl 2 weeks later? It's not because of pay. Offensive linemen are paid more than most other positions. I think it's just that we've seen a proliferation of athletic defensive linemen, and they've really given those O-linemen some fits. But yeah, Brock needed to step up in the pocket, and that's the thing. He learned the hard way, and he's improved this season. All right, it's going to be a great game, 49ers in Philly. Just wanted to share some of this stuff with you, and obviously the Black Friday deal as well. It's a nice sale, $1 a month. So go ahead, check it out. That article is in the description. Nice little 19-minute show. That is, we'll go with the 19-minute show. Deebo Samuel's number sounds fun. Everybody have a great Friday afternoon.